Hello and welcome to the pharmaphorum podcast. I'm your host, Jonah Comstock. Longevity and health span have emerged rapidly as an increasingly serious category of healthcare study and investment. But there are a lot of ideas inside the industry and out about exactly what the goal is. Is it about extending lifespans as much as possible? Are we trying to live forever? Or do we just want to experience less physical and cognitive decline as we age? My guest today is Boyang Wang, the founder of Immortal Dragons, a $40 million Singapore-based fund focusing exclusively on moonshot longevity innovations. Welcome to the show, Boyang.
Thanks, Jonah. Thanks for having me.
So, first of all, tell me a little bit about yourself and Immortal Dragons and how you ended up um, in this kind of line of work and this particular area of investment.
Of course. So this is Boyang. I'm the founder at Immortal Dragons. We are a early stage venture fund based in Singapore, and we call ourselves a purpose-driven longevity fund. Um, to dissect that a little bit, when we say we are a longevity fund, um, the meaning is really twofold. Number one, we do put an emphasis on lifespan. So we care about lifespan as well as health span. The reason why we think lifespan is important is because as the time goes by, with advancement of technology, there will be more therapeutics, more treatments emerged. So every 1 year of living gives you additional chance and opportunities for a longer health span and better life. Now, another meaning when we think about longevity in our definition is to focus on preventive medicine, not just sick care. So we do not put as much emphasis on therapeutics on treating specific diseases, but rather we are thinking about if you are otherwise healthy individual, how can we do things? How can we have interventions and supplements and other measures such that you will have a healthier and longer life in the future, 20, 30 years down the road? That's the longevity part. And for purpose driven, we are a bit special in that most of our funding is from internal. That is, the two GPs are putting in most of the money for the fund, along with another two mission aligned individuals. With that, we have really flexible mandate. We are really going after our goal, which is to advance science and longevity research and scientific advancement rather than putting economic return as the first priority. So that's us.
So, yeah, so many directions I could go with that. But first of all, sort of like, you've been out of stealth for a few months now. Have you announced any investments? Can you talk about anything particular? Some examples of kind of what you see as the kind of thing you want to be investing in.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So as far as investment thesis is concerned, um, we have a preference for underfunded moonshot projects. Of course, we are early stage fund. We invested from starting from pre-seed to Series A. Our check size is typically less than 1 million US dollars, and we are big on these thesis. Number one, replacement strategy. That is directions like xenotransplant, in vitro organogenesis, and all the technologies required for replacement strategy, right? We think replacement is probably better than repair when it comes to um, fixing the various diseases and ensuring a healthier life in the long term. And number two, another important direction that we make bets in would be gene therapy and its delivery vectors. Now, gene therapy is not that much of a new concept anymore, but we are um, really um, like bullish on making gene therapy more of a common treatment rather than a very rare uh, personalized or customized therapy just for like genetic defects. So with that, we need to figure out better delivery vector, targeting specific organs. We want to make gene therapies more measurable, observable, and make it even reversible, so that we have a ease of mind. These are some of the directions. In terms of investment, number one, we do invest in other funds as well. So we are one of the larger LPs into healthspan capital, managed by um, Sebastian Brunemeyer and Nathan Chen. We invested in Frontier Bio, which is a company working on 3D biofabrication, right? The ultimate goal is to one day be able to 3D bioprinting organs. But for now, we can do 3D bioprinting of tissues, organoid, and blood vessels. These are interesting developments. And the first synthesis blood vessel product by Humacyte just got approved by FDA. So that's a positive sign. We invest in gene therapy. So Unlimited Bio is a company, and always seen biotechnologies. These are some of the portfolio companies that work on the gene therapy track. Yeah, there are many more. We can go into those in detail later.
But this idea of replacement and bioprinting organs is really interesting. I mean, right now, obviously, you have to if you need a new organ, you have to wait for a donor. You have to have a donor that's a match, um, and it's very much it's a it's not preventative. It's a treatment for a serious condition. So I guess the idea here is that if you could print organs on demand, you could start to think about organ replacement as more than a treatment or a therapy, but as something that can be done.
A
Yeah.
prevention, a maintenance. Yes, that would be a very, very interesting uh, uh, per- perspective. If in the future, senior citizens, they can consider, oh, and my liver panel or my kidney panel is showing some decline in terms of functionality. Should I consider a replacement if the cost and the risk is all managed? Right, that would be a very interesting idea. It's almost like more of a routine maintenance rather than therapeutics.
I think one area where people get hung up thinking about longevity is the idea that this is something that is going to be like for the rich, right? Like some people are going to be able to afford to live forever, and some people aren't, or what have you. I mean, how do you think about making sure that these benefits are going to extend to everyone the way that other healthcare endeavors do?
Absolutely. We have pretty strong opinions on these, and we coined these with the term technological spread. And we say technological spread is almost inevitable. So we are confident. The way it works is that if we refer to almost all of the technologies, especially consumer technologies in the human history, air conditioning, automobile, um, well, aircraft, or smartphone, you see a clear trajectory where initially, of course, it's expensive and is only for the rich. But after a while, it spread, and then almost everybody benefit from it. And eventually, of course, there's a price tag. We're not saying that everybody affords a Tesla, but it is there in the range, right? Why is that so? This is not a coincidence, but rather we think market force and technological advancements are in play here. Number one, because it's a technological product, it's not a luxury good like Hermes handbag. So the, the process of manufacturing it can be refined. And if one company is not willing to drive down the price point, then another company, a competitor, will come in and try to produce cheaper and faster, and then sell it to another group of consumers, and eventually driving the price down. So at the end of the day, you almost always see that technological products, the price will end up in between the price of an iPhone or the price of a Tesla or the price of a microwave oven. microwave oven in the past was like magic technology, right? That's our thesis, and that's why we believe with given time, all of these technologies will be spread and will benefit majority of the society members. Now, it of course takes time. Of course, some rich people or people in the position of power will have earlier access. No doubt about that. That is the imperfection. But if you think about it, they also take much of the risk because they tried early. If there's something goes wrong, they have to deal with it themselves. And then the general public will only get access when it's stable, when it's almost risk-free, or at least the ROI is positive. That is also an advantage of having delayed access. So that's our take.
When you think about the long term potential of this space, and you are making these long term bets, right? And you're not looking for a fast return. You're looking to enable a whole new kind of category of technology. Where do you think, like, what do you see as the end game? Is it doubling lifespan? Is it, you know, actually like living forever? Is it, is it like what do you think of as kind of the future you're trying to build?
Yes. Um, yeah, predicting the future is super hard. But if we are to give a shot, um, we would say that um, doubling the lifespan as well as health span is within reach in the next few decades. And that could already be a fundamental change to our civilization. This is really fundamental and serious because if you think about it, if we are to colonize Mars, the travel time from Earth to Mars, in the most ideal case, will be more than 1 year, 1 calendar year on Earth. So if your life expectancy is about 80 years, how many people will actually choose to go for it? Whereas if your life expectancy is 160 or 200, so everything will be changed. Education system, retirement, your your decision about marriage and having kids, um, your you will be willing to take on longer projects. We will be able to take on more ambitious projects and be more patient and become life learners. It will no longer make sense if you just learn over the course of like 10 years at school and then your entire life you just apply those skills. All of this will be changed. So yeah, the we don't know the end game for sure, but let's say one important milestone is when we are able to double the lifespan and health span, and by then we will be very happy, and then we look out for uh, uh, the next milestone.
That's really interesting. So it's not just about living longer for its own sake. It's about what that enables for society. And this innovation potentially unlocks a lot more innovation down the road because people's careers go on longer and they stay sharp longer.
Yes, and for scientists to build on their theories longer, they have more time to think. It really unlocks unlimited possibilities.
And then I guess the other thing about it is well, let's talk about preventive health a little bit because that's even outside of the context of longevity, that's something that I think a lot of futurists and innovators in healthcare have been talking about for a long time. We shouldn't be, um, or even just policymakers, we shouldn't have a sick care system. We should have a healthcare system. But in practice, it turns out it's very hard to kind of make those economics work, right? Like, um, and it's hard to measure success of it. Like, there's a lot of challenges to making preventive medicine work in practice. I mean, how do you think, like, what can be done?
Yes, I totally agree. So this is a topic that has been discussed by practitioners um, for many years. But indeed, number one, the incentive structure or the economics is totally skewed, right? Um, Even though I know most doctors wouldn't be thinking this way, but the matter of fact is that if you are diagnosed with a more serious illness, then you will need more treatment, and that creates more GDP and more sales for the hospital, for the clinic, and for the doctor. That's unfortunate, but it's a truth. That's like the uh, push factor. And on the other hand, we also have the pull factor, the risk aversive factor, where doctors are supposed to do no harm. If, according to the diagnostics manual, that you are just 0.1% away from the definition of diabetes, then the doctor by right is not supposed to give you any intervention. Otherwise, he will be going against the diagnostics manual. He will be going against so-called established practice, and he might be held accountable if something go wrong. So there is a risk factor, and then there is an incentive factor. All of this is causing the unfortunate structure we're seeing in healthcare sector where the cost is really high, the medical bill is enormous, but we are not getting the ideal healthcare services that we would like to receive. Now, preventive medicine, on the other hand, have the potential to fix at least some parts of this, right? As a rational, informed individual, of course, if I'm close to diabetes, diabetes, if I'm close to become diabetic, then please do some intervention, some treatments. That would be just the reasonable thing to do. Not to mention that every biological body is different. So the criteria for diabetes shouldn't be like one cutoff at all anyway. And with that, one individual have the hope of receiving better healthcare service and have better outcome. Now, how do we measure this and how do we reward this? This is really another big issue yet to be solved. I mean, from the individual's perspective, yes, maybe I'm very grateful for this doctor of mine. The person has a preventive mindset and he or she is taking good care of me. But how do we transform this into economic incentive? Like I can't just randomly pay the doctor more. That wouldn't make sense. And if you compare the compensation and the reward the doctor can get from practicing good preventive medicine versus I only treat people when they are terminally ill, the reward for the latter might still be more. We really need to fix that. Now, insurance companies, public sector,
They have incentives to keep people up.
Medicare, Medicaid,
Yeah.
yeah, may have a chance to fix this because they have more aligned incentives. But it's always hard to change policy making. So I guess it will still be uh, a long battle, I would say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and we all have to kind of be working on all the pieces of this at the same time. Let's talk about gene therapy really quick, and then I want to just give you a chance to kind of talk about anything message that you have for the wider life sciences industry. But we kind of skip past gene therapy, and I think it is really interesting. I mean, as you said, the space has grown a lot already, and there are some incredible treatments that have been approved. But it seems like you have a little bit of a broader vision for what gene therapy could be, and some of the companies you're investing in maybe have a broader vision for what gene therapy could be. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Uh, yeah, for sure. So, for gene therapy, we feel like it kind of is going from scientific discovery to real business cases. It went from lab experiments to factory manufacturing, and that's a great sign. Uh, Looking forward, we are really hoping to see some of the trends that we've been expecting to realize on gene therapy to make it really a more important class of intervention and to make it beneficial for a larger proportion of the population. Um, okay, first of all, the definition of what is a gene therapy and what not is still a debate. Well, by some definition, you can say that the previous COVID vaccines by Pfizer and Moderna are considered gene therapies because they deliver genetic material. Is RNA. It doesn't incorporate into your genome, but you can say it's gene therapy. If that's the case, then we can say, oh, X% of the population already received at least one gene therapy. That's an impressive stats, but it doesn't really say much. Yes, of course, we can deliver RNA. We can just let the genetic material do its work without touching your uh, genome, and that has its pros and cons. Um, but the real issue is what is the systematic way of thinking about it? Uh, what are the different metrics or the preferred traits we want to see on the delivery method, on the genetic material, um, so that it will be closer to our ideal form? And then in the future, when we evaluate a certain intervention, a therapy, we say, oh, this can be the ROI is definitely positive. It can be used for this and that condition. We can have a better evaluation. Right now, one issue that I see when I'm talking to people about this idea is that gene therapy sounds so um, involved and so heavy. It sounds like it's just a last resort for genetic defects, um, like life, like very critical conditions. Um, sorry, let me redo this. What I mean is that it seems gene therapy becomes such a um, risky intervention, such that it's only used for, say, infants with born genetic defects. And that shouldn't be the case because we have more tools in our arsenal to create gene therapies that are milder, that are as effective and less risky. And that kind of echoes the previous point about how delivery methods should be more measurable. It should be even reversible, uh, so as to support this class of new wave of gene therapies that can be for more conditions and therefore is actually more important.
So we shouldn't be afraid to have a broader idea of what gene therapy could be used for.
Oh, absolutely. I'll just give like one example to prove the point. So one company that we invested in, we actually wrote the very first check for them, Unlimited Bio. They are working on gene therapy. Uh, well, they already have a product which is a gene therapy on VEGF that can be injected. Originally, it was used to treat muscle atrophy, which is not a uncommon condition. And then moving forward, it was discovered that it can be used for another indication, which is hair loss, because VEGF, uh, the link is pretty straightforward. So, um, if you talk to people or even doctors on the street saying that, you know what, we want to do a gene therapy just to treat hair loss, most people will be like shocked and saying that it's not worth it. But it doesn't have to be that risky. Right. That's a case in point.
So we're coming to the end of our time. Our audience is a lot of folks in the pharma industry and the life sciences industry and kind of in adjacent spaces. If there was just one kind of key takeaway you want to tell folks like that about, longevity, about your mission in the space that you work in, what would it be?
Right. With that, um, yeah, I understand our audience is mostly industry practitioners. Um, I want to come back to my point where lifespan matters. So we should not kind of stigmatize the idea or the vision of extending lifespan, because again, with every 1 year of additional life, you have more hope and more opportunity for new interventions. Some, yes, there are some advocates for the idea of longevity. Many of them talk about health span, which is less controversy, but lifespan is totally a reasonable idea as well, extending lifespan. So I'm really hoping that, because ultimately we share the same goal, right? Higher quality healthcare, healthier lives, more productive society. So all of us, we can really all unite under this one flag, and yeah, just make the world a better place.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Boyang. Really interesting stuff. I think this is a space I'm watching closely, and I'm sure many others are too. So good luck.
Thanks, Jonah.
That concludes another episode of the pharmaphorum podcast. You can find more information about this episode, including a download link and information about previous installments, at pharmaphorum.com/podcast. The pharmaphorum podcast is also available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, Pocket Casts, Podbean, and pretty much wherever else you download your podcasts. Just search for pharmaphorum and follow and hit subscribe. Of course, don't forget to visit the website itself, where you can sign up for daily and weekly news and analysis bulletins, and follow us on Blue Sky and LinkedIn at pharmaphorum. That's PharmaPhorum. That's all for now. Thanks for listening.